Good afternoon. Today is the first class. So I will be taking, polity classes will be of 50 sessions. 50 session approximately 100 hours and history will be of 130 hours. Overall the hours goes up to 1000 hours overall altogether. So today is starting. Just I will start with introduction, then historical underpinnings of the constitution. If you already know, use it as revision class. If anyone knows who studied little bit, why? Because we did NCERT. Use it as revision class. And daily you will be having 10 MCQs questions from tomorrow. Why? Because on today's topic, tomorrow you will have. Tomorrow's topic, day after tomorrow you will be having the test. Constitution. What is constitution? Constitution is a book. Constitution is a book which gives us clarity, certainty. The government will not function arbitrarily. Arbitrarily means వాళ్ళకి ఇష్టం వచ్చినట్టు. The government will be controlled. People's rights, ముఖ్యంగా people's rights will be protected. If government is trying to violate my right, I will tell, see the constitution, my rights are guaranteed, so you cannot violate my rights. Four major things are there because of the constitution. Number one is certainty, how the central government should function, how the state government should function, how the parliament will be functioning, how the state legislature will be functioning, how the Supreme Court will be functioning, how the state government will be functioning, how the states are formed, how the union territories are formed, so that we will be having a certainty and clarity when we have the constitution, number one. Number two, the rulers will not become super kings. The rulers will not become power mongers. The rulers cannot do whatever they want, like North Korean president Kim Jong-un. Whatever comes from his mouth, that is final and binding. Yesterday only, lot of people are committing suicide. He told, please don't commit suicide, I am there now to kill you. What is the news means? He told, people are committing suicides, no freedom, nothing. So in the world report, everyone is noticing that in North Korea, a lot of suicides are happening. So he told that, I am giving a dictatum, no one should commit suicide. For suicide also he is giving dictatum. Means complete power is under the hands of dictators. It's very dangerous. So constitution will tell, don't become monarchs, don't become dictators. You have the power, you have the rule, but according to the lines of Constitution of India. Number two. So the rulers cannot become superpower. Number three, arbitrary. They cannot have arbitrary power. They will be functioning according to the rule of law. Number three, citizens' rights. This person is criticizing the government. This person every time working with the opposition. This person is every time doing some criticism or other criticism. This person is dissent against the government. If anyone is working against the government, that particular concept is called as dissent. D-I-S-S-E-N-T. So go and arrest him. Citizens' rights are violated. So the Constitution of India is there. There are some fundamental rights. His rights will not be violated. So for this all purpose, the Constitution is there. Certainty, rule of law, no arbitrary power. Mainly, citizens' rights are protected. What more it gives to the citizens of India? What more it gives? What is Constitution? Constitution is a legal document. It is nothing but a legal document that contains the basic and fundamental laws of nation, setting out the organization of government and principles of society. The Constitution will tell, like fundamental rights will guarantee political rights. Directive principles of state policy guarantees social and economic rights. Means everyone will have vote, everyone can participate in the election process. Political rights, political justice, no untouchability, right to equality, no person is above the law, social justice, economic justice, directive principles of state policy, no discrimination in wages with respect to male and female. It's the government responsibility to provide basic livelihood to all the peoples of the country. Economic justice. The meanings are very important. Political justice. Political justice means everyone who is above the 18 years of age have the right to vote, have the right to decide his own ruler. He might be a winner or a loser, but I have the right to decide my ruler. Number two, I have the right to contest also. I also want to become a ruler. Political justice is ensured. Where it is present? It is present in the Article 324 of the Constitution. Under Election Commission of India, vested with respect to giving voting rights and allowing everyone to participate in the election. Political justice. What Constitution of India will ensure? Political justice, social justice, economic justice. This type of questions are coming in prelims. Social justice, equality. Economic justice, equal division of labor, equal division of income. No discrimination based upon income distribution. So the Constitution of India guarantees mainly political justice, economic justice, social justice. Constitution of India is the law of the nation. It is the law of the land. Everyone should follow it. Why? Because it is going to ensure the most important justices, political, social and economic justice. It ensures what type of government should be there, what type of society should be there. Who will tell? Constitution is telling. What type of society we are going to have? Egalitarian society, equal society, no titles, no titles, no person is Raj Bahadur, no person is Nizam, no person is Dora, no person is Sir, everyone are equal. So that what will be ensured? Equality will be ensured. Equal society will be ensured. What type of government? In the preamble itself they mentioned that the government is what? Sovereign, democratic, republic government, people elected government will be there. There is no scope for monarchy, there is no scope for military coup, there is no scope for one religion to dominate. So the Constitution, first we have to understand what is this Constitution. Later we will go into the subject. 2021 prelims question, right? What is constitutional morality, he asked, if you remember. 2021 prelims question. What is constitutional morality? First we have to know what is constitution, then morality. So Constitution is nothing but a rule of law, rule of the land, which is ensuring social, political, economic justice, which is telling that what type of government should be function, what type of society should be established, where it is written in the Constitution of India. So no need to follow, no need to listen to anyone, just blindly follow the Constitution of India. Why? Because it's clearly mentioned that what type of justice we are going to get, what type of government we are going to have, what type of society we are going to establish. See, legal document that contains basic and fundamental law of nation, setting up organization of government and principles of organization of government, democratic government, people's government. We the people of India giving to ourselves, people are the supreme. No, more than the Constitution, who is supreme? If there is a question, who is supreme in the country? Constitution, Supreme Court, President, people of India. People of India. It embodies customs, morals, values, precedents, culture and so on. It is sacred law that basis for governance of the country. It establishes political system. It provides rule of law, how the country should move on, what type of government we should establish, what type of system we have to establish, what type of society we have to establish, where it is written. It is written in the Constitution. So in simple, when you go out, if you don't answer any question in the interview board, lastly he will ask, tell me what is Constitution. If you answer this properly also, you will get 180 marks. He had very good command on the Constitution. So Constitution is nothing but, Constitution is going to ensure what type of government, what type of society, and which also ensures social, political, economic justice. It protects rights of the people. It stops arbitrary rule of rulers. Arbitrary rule of rulers. So the Constitution is a rule book. This is the Constitution of India. Polity and governance, what is the difference? First you need to understand. Polity is static part. Governance is application of polity, and administration is called as governance. Constitution is a body of fundamental principles or established precedents according to which a state or other organizations is acknowledged to be governed. How we have to run the show is mentioned where? In the Constitution of India. How to run the show, how to run the game. Nowhere we need to follow. One book is there. If you follow that book, we can run the show properly. It might be the central government show or state government show or judiciary show or legislature show. Very basics. State. Understand this. State means politico-administrative structure is called a state. Politico-administrative structure is called a state. The state consists of three organs. Legislature, executive, judiciary. Legislature, executive, judiciary. Legislature, the people who are elected by the people will be becoming the rule makers. They will be making the rule makers. They will be called as lawmakers, and those lawmakers are called as legislatures. From that legislatures who are good, from that legislature few people will be elected as rulers. Those are called as executive. It might be the legislature, it might be the executive, it might be the judiciary. Everyone should follow one rule of law, and that rule of law is called as constitution. Whether this rule makers, whether these rulers are following this rule of law is checked by whom? Judiciary. This integration is present in the state, in the politico-administrative system. If there is proper integration between the legislature, executive, judiciary, it is nothing but following the Constitution of India, then that state is going to get what? Social justice, political justice, economic justice. So for ensuring social justice, economic justice, political justice, no arbitrary power of the ruler, people's rights, citizens' rights are protected. What we need to have? We need to have a proper integration between legislature, executive and judiciary. How we can achieve that proper integration? We can achieve that proper integration by following Constitution of India. These three are part of what? State. First understand the meaning of state. There are two concepts in polity. One is called as state, other is called as nation. State, within the geographical boundary, if the people are following one particular political system, that particular geographical boundary area is called as state. We are following one particular boundary, which is Constitution of India, in which three organs are there: legislature, executive and judiciary. So within the geography, if the people are following one political system, that particular body is called as state. The same way, in one particular geography, if people are following one culture, like tribal people who believe that they are one country, if they are following one particular culture, that particular geographical area is called as nation. India is, now you tell me, means one culture, if they are following that particular geographical area is called as nation. Now you tell me, India is a nation or a state? India is a nation or state? India is a nation or state? Think and tell me. Okay. Next, why state? See, in that particular geographical area, we are having one particular political system which is run by the Constitution of India. So it is one particular political system. So it's a state. Whether we are following one culture or we have multiple cultures. We are multiple cultures. We are a diverse country. So India is what? A nation but not a, India is a state but not a nation. We have so many cultures, we have so many religions, we have so many languages. We are a diverse country. So India cannot be called as nation. India is what? State. First understanding. I didn't tell secularism. I will come there. Nation ante అదే వేరే వేరే కల్చర్లు, వేరే వేరే రిలీజియన్లు. నేషన్ అంటే ఏంటంటే ఒక్కటే కల్చర్ ఉండాలి, ఒకటే రిలీజియన్ ఉంటే ఆ ప్రాంతాన్ని నేషన్ అంటాము. ఇండియాలో ఒకటే రిలీజియన్ ఉందా? ఒకటే కల్చర్ ఉందా? ఒకటే కల్చర్, ఒకటే రిలీజియన్ లేదు. ఎన్నో కల్చర్లు, ఎన్నో రిలీజియన్లు ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి ఇదేంటి? నేషన్ అయితే కాదు. కానీ ఒకటే పొలిటికల్ సిస్టమ్ ఉంది. సెంట్రల్ గవర్నమెంట్ విచ్ ఇస్ ఫాలోయింగ్ వన్ పర్టికులర్ బుక్ విచ్ ఇస్ కాల్డ్ అస్ కాన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా. సో ఇండియా ఈజ్ కాల్డ్ అస్ వాట్? స్టేట్ బట్ నాట్ నేషన్. ఒక కల్చర్ కాదు కదమ్మా మనది. ఈ పర్టికులర్ జియోగ్రఫీలో, ఇండియా అనే జియోగ్రఫీలో, ఈ పర్టికులర్ జియోగ్రఫీ మొత్తంలో మనం ఒకటే ఒక కల్చర్ ఫాలో అయితే, ఏదైనా సరే, ఏ దేశమైనా సరే, ఆ దేశం మొత్తంలో ఒకటే కల్చర్, ఒకటే రిలీజియన్ ఫాలో అవుతే ఆ ప్రాంతాన్ని ఏమంటామంటే నేషన్ అంటాం. ఆ పర్టికులర్ జియోగ్రఫీలో ఆ ప్రాంతం మొత్తం ఒకటే ఒక పొలిటికల్ సిస్టమ్ ఫాలో అయ్యామనుకోండి, ఏమంటాం మనం? స్టేట్ అంటాం. సో ఇండియా ఈజ్ ఎ స్టేట్ బట్ నాట్ nation. Why? Because we don't follow one culture, we have multiple culture. అదే ఇప్పుడు సౌదీ అరేబియా, we go to Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, one culture is dominating or multiple cultures are there? One culture is dominating. They believe in Islam. Islamic culture is prevailing in Saudi Arabia. But there is also one political system. Saudi Arabia is the best example of nation state. Saudi Arabia is a nation as well as state. Why? Because they have one political system which is called as kingdom. And they have one culture which is called as Islamic culture. Oman, nation state. Riyadh, nation state. Qatar, nation state. They have their own political system, they have their own culture. Hence those are called as nation state, but India is not called as nation because we have multiple cultures. So first understanding of India, the first understanding of India is union of states. India is a politico-administrative system, but never a nation. Why? Because we don't have one culture, we don't follow one religion. That is the first thing which we have to understand. So India is a state, but not nation. Prelims point of view, statement wise, India is a state but not nation. Second point, India is a nation but not state. India is both nation and state. India is never a nation and state. India is only a state. What is difference between, now we are going into the constitution. When the original constitution was adopted by the Constituent Assembly on 1949 November 26th, 396 articles were been there, 22 parts were been there, 8 schedules were been there. 8 schedules were been there. But now, nearly 445 articles, 25 parts, 12 schedules became. What are the schedules? What are the parts also? You have to remember. That will be the homework I will tell you. The constitution is divided into number of parts that deal with a broad, specific topic. For example, part 1, India is a union of states. Formation of new states. How we can form the new states? Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, Article 4 are part 1 of the constitution. Means mainly with respect to Indian and its states comes under part 1 of the constitution. Part 2, citizenship. With respect to articles, with respect to citizenships comes under 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 comes under part 2 of the constitution. Means what we are understanding, how the parts are divided based upon uniformity. When it is center and states or union and states, part. If it is with respect to citizenship, 1 part. With respect to fundamental rights, article 12 to 35, part 3. With respect to directive principles of state policy, 36 to 51, part. 4B, fundamental duties, 51 clause A comes under 51A comes under part 4. So, based upon the category, we categorized into parts. If someone asked after the class, so you attended Indian polity class, no? Tell me what are parts and schedules? What do you understood by the parts and schedules? Parts are nothing but articles are summarized together based upon the uniformity. If they are with respect to union and states, part 1. With respect to citizenship, part 2. With respect to fundamental rights, part 3. With respect to directive principles of state policy, part 4. Then what is schedules, sir? Schedules also there. Schedule 1, schedule 2. Right now how many schedules are there? Now only I told. 12 schedules are. 12 schedules are which are not present in the constitution, which are present as additional source, which are present as additional information in tables, auxiliary, extra information. Schedule 1, it talks about President, Prime Minister, CGI of India. All the higher posts of the country are clubbed together under schedule number 1. So, which are not part of the constitution, which are separately represented are called as schedules. Articles which are clubbed together based upon the uniformity is called as parts. Out of the constitution which are given as an auxiliary information are called as schedules. Schedule is like an appendix, an ancillary information which can be referred to while reading an article. While I am referring an article, oh, schedule 4, I will go additionally and I will look into it. Why? Because it is not part of the book, it is an auxiliary information, it is an extra information. Schedules are out of the articles, but parts are part of the articles. Articles clubbed together to form a one part. So, how many parts are there today? Today we have 25 parts, 445 articles somewhere around, 12 schedules. Original Indian Constitution had 22 parts, 395 articles. Later 3 parts are added and lot of amendments were being made. So, today how many parts are there? 25 parts are there. Indian Constitution recognizes 22 major languages of India, which is present in the 8th schedule of the Constitution. Basic information I am giving, later I will give you the list of schedules also. First understand. So, original Constitution how many? 22, 8, 395, now 445, 25 parts, 12 schedules of the Constitution. How it got added? It got added by constitutional amendment, by Rajyanga Savarana, constitutional amendments. Originally 395, 22 parts, 8 schedules. At present approximately 448 articles, 25 parts, 12 schedules. The numbering still remains the same, but as when the constitution is amended, new articles are added. So number will be same like 21, 22, 23, but what we will add? Act like 21A. Article 21A talks about what? Right to education. So article numbers will be same, 395 articles only. But we will be adding extra by amendment by adding A or B or C. So the number is fixed. How many? 395. By adding that number A, B, C, D, total became how many? 448 articles. So originally we have 395 articles, 8 schedules, 395 articles, 8 schedules, 22 parts. Time taken is 2 years, 11 months, 18 days. 12 sessions were being conducted. Which constituent assembly? Constituent assembly was being formed, which is responsible for making of constitution. So how many sittings they did? 12 sittings they did. How many committees were been there? 22 committees were been there. And adopted on 26th November 1949 and came into action. Very important. Very basics. For example, 2020 nowadays, earlier these are small things we should not study, we used to think. 2023 prelims, flag size they asked. Asked or not? Everything we have to remember. UPSC is understanding that people are becoming very intelligent. And UPSC is BAP of all public service commissions. It is showing stars present. With A, B, C, D and all present, 470 articles, A, B, C, Ds, 12 schedules, 25 parts. How many constitutional amendments acts? 105. Why we use nation? One question will come. Father of nation, why we use nation? Sir, if we should not call it as a nation, then why we use nation? We use nation, no? Who is father of nation? Mahatma Gandhi. Technically wrong. Generally correct. Technically wrong. If you are writing UPSC answer and if you are mentioning nation, when you are writing about a political answer, a polity answer and you are mentioning repeatedly nation, he will throw your paper. Generally correct. For a layman it is correct, but not for a bureaucrat, but not for a technician. It is correct for whom? General person. So what is the benefit of having constitution? You tell me, what is the benefit of having constitution? These are very, very important. Remember forever. First importance, priority wise we will try to understand. The first importance is it protects freedom of citizens, protects individual freedom. Number one, that is important. Protects individual freedom means I am walking on the road. Someone came and arrested me. Police came and arrested me. He is not telling anything. He put me inside the bar. I am behind the bars. Completely violation of my rights. Once upon a time like this it used to happen in British Raj. In emergency times from 1975 to 1977, anyone they used to catch and they used to put inside. Complete violation of rights. So that violation should not happen. So what should be there? Constitution should be there. Number one, protects individual freedom. Emergency is called as dark days of Indian democracy. From 1975 to 1977, 18 months, people suffered like anything. Mainly young people, lot of rules, arresting, without any notice, going inside, searching, no judiciary, no rule of law. Politicians became super powerful, mainly Congress people became super powerful, destroying opposition house, police people, lawmakers, bureaucrats, police constables used to do lot of rapes, lot of illegal activities. People earned money like anything. Emergency situation. 3 lakhs opposition leaders were being arrested. 3 lakhs opposition leaders were being arrested. Emergency. That is the reason today also, if Congress comes for election, what the opposition will take the example? Emergency. First is, doesn't place absolute power in the hands of rulers. Next important is that ruler should not become arbitrary. Ruler should not become superpower. So second important function of the constitution is no arbitrary rule of rulers. limits the power of government. Government is not having absolute power, government is having qualified power. Number 3. Number 4, a system of checks and balances. Whether now government is also controlled by the Supreme Court or not? Yes. Government is also controlled by the Supreme Court. What is the checks and balances? Where it is present? Constitution of India. Constitution of India. These are the benefits of having Constitution of India. Citizens and others with variety of rights embedded. It sets limit to the powers of government bodies. What is rule of law? So mainly Constitution is nothing but a rule of law. Rule of law is nothing but which is a written document is called as rule of law. Rule of law guarantees what? Rule of law ensures what? Adherence to the principles of supremacy of law. What is supremacy in India? Rule of law. What is that rule of law? Constitution of India. No one is greater than Constitution of India. In North Korea, who is greater? Kim Jong-un. In Iran, who is greater? Khamenei, religious leader. No rule of law. In Pakistan also we have constitution. They also follow the constitution. But there are some examples. There are some countries which doesn't have constitution. Why? Because the rulers themselves are constitutions. Equality before the law will be ensured by rule of law. Accountability to the law. Yes or no? Why? Because there is a mechanism of judiciary which is present in the rule of law. Fairness in the application of law. Yes. Everyone are equal. Once upon a time, if an upper caste person you commit a crime and a lower caste person commit a crime, only the lower caste person will get the punishment. And if the crime is same, the punishment given to the lower caste person is very high when compared to the punishment given to the upper caste. Application is also not fair. Now, because of rule of law, CRPC, Criminal Procedure Code, CPC, Civil Procedure Code, Indian Penal Code, Constitution of India, this all together is rule of law. So, everyone will have the same application of law. Everyone will have the same application of law. Who is ensuring it? Constitution is ensuring it. First, when you are reading about polity, when we are going into the Constitution, we have to know the benefits of the Constitution. Number 1 benefit is what? Supremacy of law. Number 2 is what? Equality before law. Number 3 is what? Accountability of the law. Number 4 is what? Fairness in the application of the law. Number 5 what? Separation of powers. Judiciary is giving a judgment. There is a proper checks and balance. Judiciary is giving a judgment and Prime Minister made a call. Don't give the judgment, give this judgment. Then the judgment is given according to the wish of the Prime Minister. Finish. Then who is becoming superpower now? So there is separation of powers also. Judiciary have its own functions, legislature have its own functions, executive have its own functions. Judiciary will not embed into the executive, executive should not embed into the judiciary, judiciary should not embed into the legislature, legislature should not embed into the judiciary. Why? Because proper separation of powers is present. Sir, sometimes there is integration, no, that we will understand later. But as of now, the Constitution, rule of law, in the rule of law, it is clearly mentioned that there is separation of powers. Judiciary, executive and legislature. So what will happen when this particular body, for example, these people are police people, when they are doing inquiry, no one is interfering whether these people can do inquiry independently. If these people are doing investigation and I am making phone calls every time and telling that please don't book a fare, don't book a fare, they got influenced. Whether justice will be delivered? No. So how they have to function? Independently. So judiciary is an independent body, legislature is an independent body, executive is an independent body. So that independence of those bodies are called as separation of powers. So the separation of powers is present where? The Constitution of India under Article 50. What is Article 50? Article 50 of the Constitution, separation of judiciary from executive. In the Constitution under Article 50, they clearly mentioned that there should be a separation of. So what will happen? No one will interfere into the judiciary, no one will interfere into the executive, no one will interfere into the legislature also. Legislature will make the law independently, judiciary will check whether the laws are made according to the Constitution or not independently, executive also will implement the law independently. When everyone is working independently, whether the society will be at peace or not. See, when we are writing an answer, it might be Election Commission of India or any body. Compulsory they will mention like this. The election of any answer. the first and the foremost reform for Election Commission of India or UPSC or CAG, any constitutional body or non-constitutional body or CBA or police, first basic reform recommendation will be what? They have to function independently. If I am the teacher, if I am a teacher, I am biased towards one person and I am unbiased towards one person. Whether people will notice it or not. One person is targeting every time asking questions, that person only. Easy questions he is asking for one person, tough questions he is asking for another person. So people will understand. Means it might be any field, what type of functioning should be there? So it is not just executive, it is not legislature, it is not judiciary. Independence is very, very important. That is the reason if you become an IAS officer or IPS officer, civil servant, why you will get that much of respect or that much of high level of hype, why you will get? Because you are going to act independently, because you got the job out of your merit. No money, no influence, no begging, no signature, no that person, no this person, by merit you are getting. So you have to act in which way? Separation of powers, participation in decision making, legal certainty. Whether legal certainty will be there, for example, you did robbery, I did robbery. You studied LLB also. You know, you went near police station, I did robbery, arrest me for 48 days. After 48 days, you have to remove me. Means what? Certainty, legal certainty, rule of law. So if any, means the constitution or the rule of, I am talking about the rule of law. Rule of law means big thing. In that rule of law, there is IPC, Indian Penal Code, CRPC, CPC, Constitution of India. The written codes are called as rule of law. The written codes are called as legal certainty. I know if I do a murder under section 304 of IPC, I know what type of punishment I will get. So legal certainty, everyone, same punishment, fairness in application, accountability to the law, legal certainty, avoidance of arbitrariness, maintaining procedural legal transparency. We know you did this mistake, this is a procedure, this is the punishment you are going to get. That is the benefit of rule of law. And one of the best example of rule of law is Constitution of India. Rule of law means lot of things. Rule of law, it can be IPC, it can be CPC, it can be CRPC, it can be Constitution of India. What it ensures? This ensures certainty. What is beauty of science? What is wonderful thing about science? Certainty, yes or no? Why people will embrace science? Why people will embrace science? People will embrace science because there will be certainty. H2 plus O is equal to H2O only. Certainty will be there. Rule of law is also what? Science. People will think that rule of science, this is part of polity. Polity means humanities. It is not science, but rule of law is part of science. Because certainty. Certainty is an example of what? Science. Science is factual, no. Science means we know what will happen if we mix this two, what will happen, what will be the outcome, we will know. When we know the outcome, it is called as science. Whether religion is called as science, religion is called as science, we don't know outcome. We didn't prepare it. Only on the exam day, we did head bath, 10 coconuts, very big puja, lot of saffron, lot of agarbattis, incense sticks. Finally, we went to the examination hall. Whether certainty will be there? What will have the certainty? Who is working hard, but not bathing also, he will write very well. Without bathing also, he will do very well. Why? Because it is science. So, rule of law is what? Science. The wonderful nature of rule of law is, it is not humanities, it is science. Write a question. Write a question. There is a debate regarding rule of law. There is a debate regarding rule of law, whether it is a science or humanity. Whether it is a science or humanity. So first you have to mention, yes, it is called as humanity. Why? Because rule of law is part of political system. The examples of rule of law are Indian Penal Code, CRPC, CVC, Constitution of India. These are all part of the political, or it is part of Indian polity. Hence, it can be considered as humanities. Next, No. Indian rule of law is science because of all these factors. Hence we come to a conclusion. Rule of law is shifting from humanities to science because of its certainty, because of its clarity. It is absolute supremacy or predominance of regular law as opposed to the influence of arbitrary power or wide discretionary power. It guarantees equality before law. Rule of law ensures certainty. Rule of law will be the conscience of the people. People will see you are at loss because of rule of law, but still you will love it, still you will follow it. Why? There is certainty. Fairness in application. On everyone same application. There is no arbitrariness. There is no violation of individual rights. So because of it, you might be the sufferer, but still you will love to follow the rule. Hence it will be called as what? Conscience of the people. Why? Because we are following it. We are liking it. So why? Because there is certainty, there is scientificity, clarity of application, fairness in application. So some factual information. So this wonderful rule of law, one of the best example of rule of law is Constitution of India. So for the first time in the world, which country is having Constitution of India? There is one small country in the world which is called as San Marino. A small country which is called as San Marino, that was the first country which prepared a constitution for their small country of our Ashok Nagar, Himayat Nagar and Gandhi Nagar, these three together. San Marino, a small country. Map pointing, whenever you come across any country, please immediately go to the map and look where it is. The Constitution of San Marino is the world's oldest active written constitution. Since some of its core documents have been in operation since 1600, well, the Constitution of United States is the oldest active codified constitution. So first one is San Marino. Then what is the difference, sir? United States of America is active codified. San Marino, they made constitution, but it is under the control of monarchy. Then United States of America is another country which is having the constitution which is made by the legislatures. Who are the legislatures? Who are elected by the people. So people's choice rule of law, people's choice constitution is United States of America. King's constitution is San Marino. For the first time, constitution is San Marino. People's choice constitution for the first time is US constitution is considered as an example. For every country, what is the example is United States of America's constitution. It is the oldest written codified constitution. The Constitution of the United States established America's national government and fundamental laws and guaranteed certain basic rights for its citizens. It was signed on September 17, 1787. So this was the signed example for the world. It is the Magna Carta of the world. The first written, codified constitution of the world, which is also supported by their people, is American Constitution. Hence, American constitution is example for all the constitutions of the world. And that was adopted in 17th September 1787. Now I answered you. Benefits of constitution. What are the positives of constitution? What we are going to get from constitution? So again I am repeating. Why do we need a constitution? Now you answer me. Why do we need a constitution? Number one, certainty. Number two, protect the individual. That is very important. Protect the individual rights. Number two, no arbitrariness of the rulers. Number three, equality of law. Next, equal application of law. Next, accountability, ensures accountability. Next, fairness. Next is limits the power of government. Next, separation of powers. Next, certainty. Next, scientific nature. These are, because of all these factors we need constitution. Avoids arbitrary power and restricts misuse of power. Institutions but not with the individuals. Again, most important point. Power should not be with the individuals. Power should be with the institutions. Nowadays, our government is, our political systems or our institutions, the power is not vesting in the institutions, but it is vesting in the people. It is not the Prime Minister of India who is powerful, but Narendra Modi is powerful now. When Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh was not powerful, but who is powerful? Prime Minister was powerful. It is not the people who should be powerful. Who should be powerful? Institutions should be powerful. In North Korea, we know Kim Jong-un, but we don't know what is his position, whether he is president or prime minister or king, we don't know. That person became powerful. So, complete chaos, complete anarchy. So, the Constitution of India ensures what? The power will vest in institutions, but not in. Hitler became powerful. Why? Because he himself gathered the power. He didn't got power because of his position. He himself got the power. Yes, sir. He was not chancellor. Prime Minister counterpart in Germany is what? Chancellor. Prime Minister in India, counterpart someone should be there, no? Head of the government. Their head of the government is Chancellor. But Hitler was never a Chancellor. But not becoming a Chancellor means in Indian context, not becoming a Prime Minister, how he became so much powerful? He became powerful. Individual became powerful. Not the position became powerful, because of which he misused. Because of which he killed lakhs of Jewish people, because of which it resulted in World War II. Power and authority will be with the institutions, but not with the individuals. Constitution will give the power to the Election Commission of India, not to the Election Commissioner. Yes or no? For you also, you are not powerful, your position is powerful. If you become a district collector, Anil Kumar is not powerful, Anil Kumar IAS is powerful. It is the positions, it is the authority which is powerful, but not the individuals. That is the beauty of Constitution. It limits the government, we know. Ensures liberty to the individuals. Constitution ensures confidence of the people and on the system. Guarantees basic rights of the citizens. My basic rights is protected. Why? Because it is written in the Constitution of India. Because of this reasons, I need Constitution. Yes, first I am accepting, then I will read about Constitution. No. First I should like it. Then only I will do marriage. Then only I will go and stay together. If not, I will not stay together. Means first, why Constitution? Why he or she? Why Constitution of India? These are all the factors because of which you and I should follow Constitution of India. Okay, now I understood. Now I started liking Constitution of India. Okay, now you tell me how this Constitution came into existence. How this Constitution came into existence. History of evolution of Constitution. Historical background. Okay. Tell me the story now. How this Adipurush came. It is Ramayana or not? One person will not Ramayana it is. It is Ramayana it is. So how this Constitution came into existence? Historical. So in 1600, the story starts like this. We know earlier we used to have kingdoms, independent kingdoms. Kings means no rule of law, no constitution. Then we had British, 1600. For the first time, the British people entered into India with a diktat from the Queen of British that we want to trade with you. And they reached for the first time where? They reached which part of India for the first time? Calicut. So they visited Calicut. Calicut which state? Kerala. So they reached Kerala with a diktat in their hands and they showed to the Travancore king, "This sir, we are from British, we are white people. So we came to do trade with you. We want to buy spices and we want to sell it in our country. We don't have spices. Chalo, come." 1600. English East India Company came to India with exclusive trading right by Queen Elizabeth by charter to trade in. I got permission from my authority. So this is official letter. Please give me permission. Okay, come. In that way, it started. But we are not bothered about history. We are bothered about historical understanding, historical making of the Constitution of. Then what happened? They entered. They started. They are increasing their possessions. They are increasing their possessions. They are increasing their area. A very big fight happened. One battle came into existence which is called as Battle of Buxar. Battle of Buxar, 1764. There was a fight between the Mughal king and the British. A very big fight at a place called as Buxar. At this particular Buxar, the British won the war against Mughals. Immediately Bengal, Odisha, Bihar came under the control of British. Diwani rights means collection of tax. Justice came under the control of British. Means up to now they were been only economical partners, but after Battle of Buxar they not only are economic partners but also political. Up to now their ambition was earning money, but now their ambition is not only earning money but also ruling, but also dominance, to acquire power. The acquisition of power started by which war? Diwani rights were the rights granted to British East India Company to collect revenues and decide civil cases. In 1675, rights over revenue and civil justice for Bengal, Bihar and Odisha from Emperor Shah Alam, Mughal Emperor Shah Alam, and the emperor turned as company's pensioner. You don't do anything, we will give you pension, you simply sit. So who became the rulers after 1764 Battle of Buxar? Means what? The people who were been having economic aspirations, now they have not only economic aspirations but also there is a shift, prelims point of view. There is a shift from economical to economical and political. Economical is continuing. Economical and political by which battle? Battle of Buxar. So now company started acquiring the power, political power after Battle of Buxar. Now the company's power is taken by the crown. Company's power is taken by the crown by 1857 revolt, 1858 Government of India Act. I will tell you that. In 1857, the first war of Indian independence broke out, which was called as Sipahi Mutiny by the British. By this war, the British understood that now company is unable to increase its possession. Why? Because Indian people are resisting. So now who should control it? Crown. Means directly by British. Up to now who? East India Company. So now the power is shifted from East India Company to Crown. This is the story. But we are not bothered about the story. We are bothered about constitutional making. What are the laws came? What are the laws came in the British times for the sake of India? For the sake of British India. As a result of 1857 result, the British Crown assumed responsibility for governance of India. It continued till August 15, 1947 with Indian independence. With the need for a constitution in 1946, a constituent assembly was being formed. The constitution was designed by whom? Constituent Assembly. In January 26, 1950, Indian constitution was legally enforced. During British rule, certain events were legal framework for governance and administration. So that particular legal frameworks, one by one, we will be discussing, starting with Regulating Act of 1773, Amending Act of 1781, Pitt's India Act of 1784, Indian Charter Act of 1793, Indian Charter Act of 1813, Indian Charter Act of 1833, Indian Charter Act of 1853, Government of India Act of 1858, Indian Councils Act of 1861. In that way, one by one, we will be discussing. Finally, what we will make? Constitution of India. Compulsory one question will be in prelims, not in mains. Compulsory one question will be there in prelims. We have to understand it. Company's rule started from 1773 to 1857 and the Crown's rule started from 1858. So in company's rule, what are all the provisions which are present? So 1773 to, by heart it, this is very, very important. 1773 to 1858, it is called as company. Which company? East India Company. Sir, why it is called as East India Company? Company came towards which side? East side. East side. It's a company by board of directors, private people like Ambani people. Who got support from Narendra Modi? They got support from British Crown. Then nationalization happened. Oh, these people are earning more. Why we should not take it? So the government took it. When? 1858. First, East India Company phase. Regulating Act of 1773. 1773, remember, by heart it. First one is Regulating Act of 1773. In between one more is there, Amending Act, not that much important, but Pitt's India Act of 1784, Charter Act of 1793, Charter Act of 1813, Charter Act of 833, Charter Act of 1853. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in between one more is there, just you go through it, which is 1881, which is called as Amending Act. These are whose? East India companies. After 1858, whose crowns? Reasons behind Regulating Act of 1773. Everyone in every book you open Lakshmikant also. They mentioned only about what are the provisions of Regulating Act of 1773. But UPSC know that everyone is reading Lakshmikant book. So I want to ask something which is not there in the Lakshmikant. Books will go, This is fact. 2 top secrets I will tell today. Very confidential. Research analysis wing secrets I will tell. Number 1. UPSC question paper makers, they will get materials from Vision IAS, who became very, very popular, insights, famous books, and they try, when they solve it, everything they keep it in the computer, and when they put a control F, if it is present, they will remove that question. Number 1. Number 2, most of the questions which they ask in mains are from Delhi University question paper, JNU University question paper, you can check. Delhi University previous year's questions, JNU previous year's questions, they will ask. Why? Because most of the setters are the professors of JNU or Delhi University. If you do JNU question papers, if you do DU question papers, your 50% of your questions are completed. Means, reasons behind Regulating Act of 1773. What happened? Now the company want to expand. Territorial expansion. They want to expand. Corruption is increased among. Huge corruption. India, corruption is a contagious. In India, corruption is a communicable disease. Who gave us? British people. Again, which British people? East India British people. This East India British people made it as a habit. Corruption is part and parcel. If not, we don't know corruption. So if any question on corruption or any essay on corruption, we have to write an answer that corruption is a disease which is given by whom? British East India Company employees. So huge corruption was been there. Lack of proper judicial administration, lack of proper central authority, deteriorating financial conditions of the company. So these all things are happening. So they thought that we need to regulate it. So they came up with a regulating act. Prelims point of view. Why? Because first act, no. What are the factors responsible for making regulating act? Number 1, high corruption. Number 2, financial condition is deteriorating. No central authority, no judicial administration. One more, territorial expansion. Because of this, I want to make an act. Which act I made? Regulating. So Regulating Acts of 1773. Constitutional importance. First step by British government to control and regulate the affairs of. First point. Which act is responsible for controlling a private company by the government? A private company is regulated by a government. East India Company is regulated by the British government. By which act for the first time? Regulating Act. That is the reason. Regulation. Regulatory bodies RBI, regulatory body SEBI, regulatory body IRDA, regulatory body FSSAI. Who made this? Government made. So government want to control it. Similarly, government want to control East India Company. So they came up with an act called as Regulating Act of 1773. First time recognized the administrative and political functions of the company. Up to now they were been independent. Now the central government told, hey, East India Company, this is your administrative functions, this is your political functions. Now you are not super powerful, now you are not independent, now onwards you are working under whom? Up to some extent. After 1858, full extent. But before 1858, some extent. By which act? Foundation for, now started, foundation for central administration. Two things we have to understand. For the first time, the British government started controlling East India Company, and it is a foundation for central administration. By which act? Regulating Act of 1773. And it demarcated the functions, political and administrative functions. These are your administrative functions, these are your political functions. By which act? Regulating Act of 1773. Prelims point of view, again, some facts. Quickly we will do. Try to remember. Governor of Bengal, now onwards will be called as Governor General of Bengal. First point. Governor of Bengal, now onwards will be called as Governor General of Bengal. Number 2. There will be Executive Council of 4 members to assist Governor General of Bengal. Means what? Central government means from British 4 people will be coming who will be advising Governor General of Bengal. Up to now, Governor General of Bengal was one person who used to make the decisions single-handed. But now onwards, he is not single-handed, he is guided by 4 members. That 4 members body is called as Executive Council. That 4 member body is called as Executive Council. This 4 member Executive Council are appointed by whom? British government. So when they are appointed by British government, whether they will work for British government or for Governor General of Bengal or for East India Company, they work for. So now indirectly started controlling East India Company. How? By forming Executive Council. How many members are there? 4 members. They will be guiding whom? Governor General of Bengal. Means what? Whatever the decision the Governor General of Bengal is making, on whose advice? And these people are appointed by whom? British. So he will be working for, these 4 people will be working for whom? British government. So now, means indirectly one more point we can infer one more point, that is independence of East India Company was been finished by regulating. The last death knell to the independence of East India Company by which act? Regulating Act of 1773. First Governor General, Lord Warren Hastings, after this act. First Governor General of Bengal. Governors of Bombay. So there are Governor Generals, presidencies. One Bombay, Madras were made subordinate to Governor General of Bengal. Up to now, see again, Bombay, Madras, Bengal, 3 different bodies, 3 different organs of East India Company. One, understand this, one is in Madras, one is in Mumbai, other is in Bengal. Now what I did, I made Governor of Bengal as Governor General of Bengal, and I made subordinate whom? Governor of Madras and Governor of Mumbai. So now those presidencies became subordinate to Bengal. So who is super powerful now? Governor General of Bengal. And that Governor General of Bengal is assisted by whom? 4 executive members. Established Supreme Court in Calcutta with 1 Chief Justice and 3 other judges. For the first time, the Supreme Court of India or Supreme Court in Bengal, Supreme Court in Calcutta, or the Supreme Court came into existence by which act? Regulating Act of 1773. Accepting bribes, presents or engaging private trade by company servants is strictly prohibited. Why? To stop corruption. British government required the Court of Directors, 24 members, to report revenue, civil and military rules. British government require Court of, now Court of Directors is there. One body, Court of Directors, board members of East India Company. Now this East India Company Court of Directors should report to whom? British government. Up to now they are independent. Now they have to report with respect to what? Revenue, how much money you are getting, civil, how you are doing administration of civilian people, and military. Whom I should report now? In this way, centralization happened. In this way, the British started controlling East India Company. First one, Governor of Bengal became Governor General of Bengal. What is the reasoning? I made Governor of Bengal as Governor General of Bengal, then only the Governor of Mumbai and Governor of Madras will become subordinate to me. If not, my name and their name are same. Some extra should be there. Now what is that extra? General. Governor General, number 1. Number 2, Warren Hastings. Number 3, Executive Council of 4 members who will be assisting Governor General of Bengal. Next, there will be Supreme Court, 1 CGA and 3 judges. Next, accepting bribes is a punishment now. Next, Court of Directors should report to whom? British government. On what? Civil, military, revenue. How much money you are getting, how you are administering civilian people, and what are the military things you are doing. So completely now British East India Company came under the control of British Crown. But not completely, little bit, slowly, injection is given. One more is there. It is not important, but in 1997 they asked this question, so we will do this also. Amending Act of 1781, which is also called as Act of Settlement. Mainly, major function is only one point: to define the relationship between Supreme Court and the Governor General in Council. What happened? Supreme Court is giving judgment. Governor General in Council means what? Governor General and Executive Council 4 members. They are also giving judgments. Now there is a conflict. Supreme Court is giving capital punishment. Governor General, Executive Council is releasing him. Who I should follow? The criminal is asking whether I should go for capital punishment or whether I have to go home. Which judgment I have to follow? So lot of chaos. Why? Because conflict between Supreme Court and Governor General in Council. So now properly they demarcated. In this cases you give the judgment, in this cases you give the judgment. Like this, proper demarcation happened between the Supreme Court as well as Governor General in Council by which act? Amending Act of 1781. This act main purpose was to define the relationship between the Supreme Court and the Governor General. The Amending Act of 1781 or a Declaratory Act of 1781 or the Act of Settlement. 3 names. Amending Act of 1781, Act of Settlement, Declaratory Act of C is the prevalent name for this law. The primary goal of this act was to construct a new court system to address complaints about the Supreme Court and the regulating act's failure to oversee the administration through the judiciary. So properly I am demarcating the powers of Supreme Court and the powers of, so that there will be no conflict between prelims point of view. There was a conflict between the Supreme Court and Governor in General in British India times. The conflict between the Governor General in Council and the Supreme Court is resolved by which act? Amending Act of 1781, Declaratory Act or Act of Settlement. Now there is no conflict. Why? Because they properly demarcated. These are the functions of Supreme Court. These are the functions of, like how, like President of India, if he gives mercy to the criminal, then Supreme Court should keep quiet. Mercy petition. So we properly demarcated. In the same way, Governor General in Council and the Supreme Court powers were being properly demarcated. East India Company. The next one is big thing, which is called as Pitt's India Act. The East India Company also, which is Pitt's India Act, is also called as East India Company Act 1784. Names also you remember. Pitt's India Act of 1784 is also called as East India Company Act of 1784. Known as Pitt's India Act was an act of the Parliament of Great Britain to address the shortcomings of the Regulating Act of 1773 by bringing the East India Company's rule in India under the control of British government. So what are the provisions of? Sir, what is the reason? Now you got the reason. What is the reason for amending Act of 1781? There is a conflict between Supreme Court and Governor General Council. What is the reason for 1784? There is some flaws in Regulating Act of 1773. In order to overcome the flaws, I came up with, there is a lacune. In order to overcome the lacune, I came up with a law. Pitt's India Act of 1784, which is also called as East India Company Act of 1784. What it did? It properly demarcated commercial and political functions of the company and told, now onwards there will be 2 bodies. One is Board of Control, other is Court of Directors. You Court of Directors, you take only about commercial. Your duty is economy, profits, that's it. You don't think about economic, you don't think about political expansion, you don't think about power, you don't think about weapons, you think only about another body, political body. You think about expansion, you think about possession, you think about weapons, you think about war. That body is called as Board of Control. So now 2 bodies are established exclusively. The functions of the East India Company is properly demarcated. Board of Control, Court of Director. Court of Director for what? Economy. Board of Control for what? Political. Board of Control to manage political, Court of Directors to manage commercial. Thus known as double governance. So 2 bodies are there, double governance. One will be exclusively economic, one will be exclusive prelims point of view. Double governance by which act? Pitt's India Act of 1784. What is double governance? Double governance is Board of Control and Court of Directors. Court of Directors is economy, Board of Control is political. Empowered Board of Control to supervise and direct civil, military and revenue operations of British possessions in India. Act also stated that to pursue such schemes of conquest and extension of dominion in India. So there is double governance. 2 bodies came into existence. One is called as Board of Control, other is called as Court of, that's it. That is 1784 Pitt's India Act. Now we will do revision. Charter Act 1793, Charter Act 1813, Charter Act 33, Charter Act 53, together we have to do. All are charter. Sir, what is this charter? Charter means list. Charter means a list, a paper, whereby they properly demarcated. What is constitution? Constitution is also a list. A book, no. For the first time, they properly demarcated, they properly written. By which act? Charter Act of 1793. Chart. So, what is constitution we discussed? We are discussing how the constitution came into existence, in which we are understanding historical background. What is the benefit of constitution? What constitution is going to give? Why Indian constitution is great, we understood. Then historical underpinnings, we started by 1773, which is called 1600 we started. After we started 1764 Battle of Buxar. Then after 1764 Battle of Buxar, 1773 the British started controlling East India Company. By which act? Regulating Act. What is the first point in Regulating Act? Governor of Bengal became Governor General of Bengal. Governor of Mumbai and Governor of Madras became subordinates. Next, there will be Executive Council who will be advising Governor General, which is called as Governor General in Council. Next, Supreme Court, one CJI and 3 other judges. Next, Court of Director should report to whom? British government. On what matters? Civil, military, revenue. Anything more? Then Amending Act of 1781. What is Amending Act of 1781? There is a conflict between the Supreme Court and Governor General and Council. In order to clearly delineate or demarcate the functions, Amending Act of 1781 came. Another name is Act of Settlement. Another name is Declaratory Act. Then came what? Pitt's India Act. To overcome the failures of 1773. What is there? Very big thing. Double governance. Double governance. 2 bodies came into existence. One body is called as Board of Control, Court of Director. Court of Director, economical. Board of Control, first day too much, sir. This much means how, sir? I told only you will tell this 1773 and you will leave us. I will give timetable. See, your day starts from 6 morning. If you are traveling also, you can open it. 6 to 10, whatever may be your optional. 6 to 10, 4 hours is enough for optional. 4 hours in the morning for optional. If you are listening class, 7 to 9 class, 6 to 7, if you are traveling, open the book and come. 6 to 7, what happened yesterday's class, do revision in the morning. What happened yesterday? 7 to 9, after 9, immediately do breakfast. After breakfast, your teacher or someone will be giving a question or take PYQ of that particular topic which you read. If you are attending the class, then what you do, that question you take. Read that topic which is taught by the teacher. 9 to 9:15 breakfast, 9:15 to 9:30 you read it. 9:30 to 10 write that answer. Enough. This exercise for another 4 months. It is not about one day batting, you know. How you are listening class, I am telling you, if you are listening same way, after 5 months also, I will write on bond paper that you will get rank. It is the consistency which is resulting. It is not hard work, it is not intelligence. It is consistency and not shortcuts. Proved by 2023, it's never shortcuts. It is the concepts, it is the fundamental rights, it will hit the ball. We should have conceptual clarity, story like. So 10 o'clock, then what you do? 10. Big 4 are very important. As I told you, you have to be perfect in big 4. Polity, history. July, August, September, these 3 months you have to become very perfect. Like on your tongue tip it should be there. Complete, should flow like anything. July, August, September. Polity, history, CSAT. Polity, history, CSAT. Why? Because I am telling you, you are super 50 students, you are 50 students, you are very, very important for me. First, you will be in this particular field if you at least clear prelims. You are part of 50, so my first primary duty is to make you to clear prelims. And I am telling you, same thing, it is getting recorded. If you clear prelims, It's open challenge, I will clear your mains. If you clear prelims. Sir, but you are not guaranteeing for prelims, sir. Guarantee for prelims also. Prelims is about exhaustive reading. Prelims is about randomness. Mains is about smart work. I am telling you, I will give you after mains GS1, 200 questions, GS1, 200 questions, GS2, GS3, 200 questions. If you become perfect on 600 questions, your GS1 to 3 is completed. Ethics essay, I will take care after you clearing prelims. Prelims is about randomness. You have to read more. CSAT, how? Disaster. Sonu Sood also tweeted yesterday. Sonu Sood also, what is that CSAT paper? No one can question UPSC. Why? Because it's clearly mentioned that a person who is having knowledge of 10th class, yes, in 10th class CBSE or 10th class ICSE, the type of questions are there, but very, very rare. Why? Because that question paper is not for you, no. That question paper is for everyone. If that question paper I give for 10 people and I gave another question paper for 90 people, then it is wrong of UPSC. If it is tough, then I gave for everyone. Then how come 66%, how come other people got cleared and you didn't clear, means something problem with you. I work as advocate, no? Judges will be so much logical. We cannot answer those questions. Very, very logical they will be there. In cases, lawyer should be more intelligent than judge. Then only the case will win. For all the logical questions, the lawyer should answer. Advocate should answer logical questions. Then he will give the judgment. Then one question the judge will ask. Now one petition is been filed. 33% should be reduced to 23%. Then the judge will ask. Advocate, compulsory this question. Whether you gave question paper only for few people or for all. Then the advocate will tell, we gave the same question for everyone. Then the toughness is for everyone same, no? Dismiss. It is not the examination, it is not the recruiting agency, it is we have to develop. That is the reason CSAT also we will start in July. We will start July, CSAT we will start July, August, September, CSAT, Polity, then October, November, December, Big 4 2, Economy, and parallelly we will do other subjects like Indian society, post-independence, social justice, these all things. But every day keep in your mind that you will stay in this field, you will be motivated if you clear at least. See, rank to milta hai. First we have to clear prelims, no? That we will be in this field, if not we will not be in the field, we will be demotivated like anything. So, morning 6 to 10, then what you do, 10 to 11, you are already frustrated with option. You are too much buffed with option. So, 10 to 11, take newspaper, read newspaper, okay? Actually, I want to tell this. So, tomorrow onwards, first 5 minutes, I will discuss that, 10 minutes, I will discuss what are the important articles in the news. Summaries I will tell, conclusions I will tell, every day, summaries. So, just 10 to 11, you go through the newspaper. Why? Because anyhow, Vishnu sir will tell, no, why to time waste. So, 10 to 11. Then 11 to 1, GS. 1 hour polity, 1 hour history, revision. Then 1 to 2 lunch, 2 to 6 class. Then 6 to 8, answer writing practice of GS. Answer writing practice of GS. Now you see you have lot of time. 6 to 8. Then 8 to 9 again, CSAT revision. 8 to 9, CSAT revision. 8 to 9. 9 to 10, newspaper analysis, making notes. 10 to 11, what all you studied from the morning, once quick revision and sleep. This exercise, if you do consistently, not one day, regularly if you do, compulsory, you will clear the examination. You can take it for granted. You will be giving books, don't buy any book, we will be giving the books, 16 books we will give. I will be giving planner. We will be giving bags also, but only for the weekly test topper. You should have merit for that. So that bag you have to wear and come. Time management, everything is time management. Any doubts? So tomorrow we will discuss Charter Act of 1793, Charter Act of 1813. He is Lord Hastings. He is COVID, the father of COVID. Then 1833. 1833 we will have, then 1858, 1857, 1858, this it goes on. Then constitution, making of the constitution, salient provisions of the constitution, then India, union and the states, then citizenship, then fundamental rights, then DPSP, eventually we move on. Okay, thank you.